We've talked once or twice about 50 Shades.
Yeah.
Do the films, do they bleed into one for you now? Like, can you differentiate one from the other?
They sort of do. I think I watched them all like by myself in a theater with like a security guard, which is a really incredibly awkward scenario to find yourself in.
Yeah,
when
to
you're
watch yourself having
simulating
sex.
so much sex.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just turn to him and be like, what do you think? How am I doing?
Yeah, believable? Passable? What do you think? Good technique?
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, Sad, Confused begins now.
I'm Josh Horowitz, and today on Happy, Sad, Confused, we have a returning champion. He sings, he dances, he views shirts as clothing optional. He's the star of The Tourist, my genetic twin, Jamiedornan.
That's very well said, and mostly true.
Mostly about 40% true.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, buddy. You know, it's been years and years since we've actually been sharing space, physical space.
Yeah, I
with each
agree.
other.
It feels like I've seen you on my like screen a lot.
Same.
And it now feels good to be this
See that I
physically
have
close
feet?
to you.
I have legs.
You do have feet. You've still got your feet.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
the diabetes hasn't taken it. I haven't
That's
removed
good.
them yet.
The gout or whatever would take them from you. I don't know.
Or just a bad run-in on the street.
Yeah, exactly. Just yeah.
We're starting on a horrible note.
Yep.
Congratulations on the new season of The Tourist. We're going to talk about that. A great many things. First, a belated thank you. You contributed a delicious potato recipe to our Happy, Sad, Confused holiday special.
I mean, did that even air? I mean, what?
Oh, it aired.
Oh, did it?
It aired. It aired. We ran it during our conversation with Claire Foy and Andrew Scott.
Yes.
And I remember we did it during a live event. Jamie contributed this about a 5-minute recipe.
It was too long. It was about 4 minutes too long, I'd say.
No, it was great. I loved it because we ran it during this live event, and frankly, we needed a breather. And afterwards, like Claire was like, "That was really thorough."
Translated as, he needs help.
No,
Shut him up.
You had the hat. It was great.
Yeah,
Always
okay,
go
good.
all in.
Yeah, I feel like Andrew Scott has probably been a beneficiary of my roast potatoes at some point over the years.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say he would have sampled one.
Wow.
Just one.
You get
Right,
one.
Andrew, you've had your share. Now pass the bowl along the table.
So we were chatting in my home state, New York. We were just talking about, you've had a minute to kind of like actually enjoy the surroundings. What is your New York history? Did you ever spend much time here, like in the lean years?
Yeah,
or?
I did in the lean years. Yeah, because when I was modeling, I was here a lot. So in my 20s, I was here a lot. I loved it. I still sort of see New York as this kind of place of sort of misbehavior in a way, because like in my 20s, I just sort of like, you know, mucked around and came in and out of bars and, you know, had fun. And I was never that busy here in a way. Like I'd hear a lot, but you know, I'd do a shoot for like a day or two, and then I'd always make a trip out of it. I'd stay in New York longer just to like see friends and have a good time. So I still feel a little bit like that, but this time my wife was with me, and we were probably more growing up and better behaved than my previous history in New York.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. I love it here. I love the food here.
The best.
But I'm such a tourist. Like we literally went to like Katz's Deli the other day.
Did you really?
Took ages to like, you know, queued up and got.
You didn't say, I'm Jamie Dornan?
I didn't know. Have
you ever done that? Have you ever pulled the Jamie Dornan card to get into a restaurant?
Dude, I'm Irish. We can't show that much confidence. That's totally against us.
For
as
like
a
the
people.
4% chance that they're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Then it's not worth it.
No, we clocked you. We know who you are.
We know
exactly. Have no interest. Join the back of the line. Yeah, I like, you know, something like that. I actually think that's kind of all part of the experience of somewhere like Cats, to go and do that and like be in line, and it's all sort of really chaotic and a bit scary, and you feel like you're in the wrong line, you're holding the wrong thing, you sort of have a panic attack when you get up there about saying the wrong thing.
Like the ticket, the whole
thing.
It's a bit stressful.
It's a bit of a schlep, but actually like well worth it. The food's amazing. Had a big messy pastrami Reuben on rye, and like, yeah, it's a good time in there. I like it. Cream soda, like just all the bad stuff. Yeah, it was good.
So back in the modeling days, and I would imagine also auditioning here in New York for trying to get the acting career going. Now, were you going up for TV? Like, were you Law and Ordering? Were you trying to like get into plays or musicals? What was happening?
I actually never in my life auditioned for like one of those procedural things. My New York experience of auditioning would have been exclusively musical, I think, probably. I don't know. I actually succeeded in getting a job here once, and then they couldn't organize my green card in time, and I needed a green card. It was to do a workshop for a Broadway musical. And
it was Hamilton. You can say what it was now.
It was. I mean, literally nearly 20 years ago, and I'm like, ooh, can I say it?
But did it succeed? Was this something that ended up succeeding?
I think it closed after like 2 weeks or something.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe didn't even make it to Broadway. It was Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, that Pedro Almodovar film. It was a musical.
There was a major actress in that too. I feel like that was going to start.
Who ended up in it? It's a guy, Bart. Sure, that director.
We'll add that in ADR
anyway,
afterwards.
Exactly. Burt. Whoa, Lancaster.
But that must have been a big moment to get it, and then crushing to be like, wait, they can't figure this out.
I remember really clearly. I was over. I just got a new manager at the time, and he thought I could sing better than I can sing, and was like, oh, let's put you up for some like musical theatre stuff. And it was my first ever musical theatre audition, and I did not know that was a different process to any other thing. So I remember waiting in the room like up at like the Lincoln Center with like proper musical theatre actors, you know, and they're on the they do these warm-ups, and I was sort of waiting outside the room, and they said like, you're next on deck, can we have your sheet music? I was like, what?
Sorry.
They said your music that you're gonna, and I'd sort of been told to prepare a song, but not much more than that. But as it turned out, you're meant to have prepared a sort of slow tempo song and a fast tempo song. Now I didn't. I only had done a slow tempo song. I just done a song and it happened to be slow tempo, but I didn't have the music for it, for the pianist or anything. So I said, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. This is my first ever musical audition. You can tell." And they said, "Well, what is the song?" And it was "Smile." You know, smile though your heart is breaking. That's the song I sang, which Charlie Chaplin wrote, by the way, if anybody doesn't know that, which is a really interesting thing. He wrote the lyrics. Anyway, so I went in, and the pianist is obviously a very established pianist. I went in, there was honestly 16 people at like Last Supper-esque massive table. And
all judging you
it was
silently.
Awful. Yeah, and I stood by this pianist, and he played that, and I sang that. And then they said, and we've heard you don't have an up-tempo song. I said, no, I have no idea. Said, what could you do like on the spot? I was like, I think I suggested a Van Morrison song, which like nobody was doing, but that's the most like comically like Northern Irish thing in the world. And then the pianist was like, oh, I know, like Brown Eyed Girl. And I was like, I don't really want to say, okay. And then I sang Brown Eyed Girl. Anyway, then I had to do the acting part. And by this point, I'm quite relaxed because I'm like, it couldn't be going worse.
Sure.
Like I've just totally, I mean, you know, I probably sang okay. And I did this, and I had to do a Spanish accent. And all I remember was I had a line where I was like, I had to say, I forgot the olives. And I remember going like, I forgot the olives. It was like terrible. Anyway, they then call me and say they want to see me again. I saw them again next day. And then they said, look, they really want you for this. And we're going to try to fast track your green card. It was really exciting and terrifying. And I remember I was in having a bath when they called, and then the first person I called was Eddie Redmayne, who was in New York at the time too, and I called him and said, you know, he was my only friend who had a bit of experience in that world by then, not musical theatre so much then, but like just my only friend who was doing plays at any kind of level at that point, I think. Anyway, they couldn't get the green card. And that's a really long way.
There's a lot to glean from that story. You thought it was a tragedy. You thought you fucked it up, and yet you got it. So there's like no rhyme or reason to anything.
Yeah, and it was and I've never had a sniff at a musical since. If you know what I mean, it was just a weird, capsulized moment in time of like, oh, I sort of got offered this.
And imagine that road
on Broadway, and then never went near it again.
And if that had happened, imagine the different path.
I know, I could have been like Jonathan Groff.
Yes, exactly.
Like an older Irish version of Jonathan Groff.
I was going to say, because you know what a fan of Barb and Star I am.
Yep.
So after Edgar's Prayer, that hasn't led to other musical offers?
Nope. What does that tell you? No, it hasn't. Look, I've sang in a few things. I sang in Belfast. I've sang here and there, but no comedy offers or musical offers, so I don't know what that says. But
that just says the movie was not seen by enough people, frankly.
Well, I agree with that. It wasn't. That was a terrible, unfortunate COVID of it all. I think the release of that film, because you and many people love it.
It's amazing.
It does have a huge cult following. And I do think there's a genuine want for more of them. But, you know, those things have to stack up in lots of different ways, and it needed to probably have made more money and all that sort of stuff and have a proper theatrical release, which we didn't get. And anyway.
Maybe that could come to the stage. Any sniffing around Broadway for a Barb and Star musical?
That's a great idea, Joe. I mean, that's a great idea.
I think I'm talking to Kristen soon, so
I
I'm
don't
going to put in a word.
My voice could take that song it's so hard to sing that song. It's way beyond my register, and I don't think I could do it night after night. Or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd just produce it and make a load of money.
No, we want you on stage. Are you going to see? Have you seen your buddy? You already name checked Eddie. We get it. You're friends with Eddie Redmayne.
Just drop a load of names on the floor here, guys. You can clean them up later.
He's coming back to Broadway for a cabaret.
He's here. He came like 4 days ago. I'm seeing him today. We're gonna go and have a cup of tea. He's very well behaved when he's doing rehearsals. So yeah, he's here. I'll come back when that's on, hopefully, and can see cabaret again.
So some of your friendships and relationships that we've talked about over the years. There is like the Eddie Redmaynes, the Andrew Garfields. I want to talk about Killian too, because I've spent a lot of time with him recently.
Yes, poor guy. It's not going well for him.
No, I'm sure something will turn around for him.
Tough time.
So like to connect it to the tourist, you're dying in a ditch.
Yeah.
Who do you text first from that group? Who's going to actually bail you out? Is it going to be Andrew Garfield? Is it going to be Eddie Redmayne? Is it going to be Cillian Murphy? Who has the chops? Who has the know-how?
It's not Garfield. I'll tell you why it's not Garfield. I reminded him of this last week. We had lunch, and I said, I'm actually getting like an MRI on my back next week, and it's just a fiddly little thing that's going on. And I feel like it's always been like that since I shattered my shoulder like 14 years ago next week, a week after I met my wife, skiing. And I was with Andrew when I was skiing, and I had a really, really terrible accident, and I got helicoptered off the side of a mountain. And Andrew filmed the whole thing. Remember Flip? Do you remember those Flip cameras? That was like the whole thing.
So you went right into action by saying, hold on.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like, I've hit this other skier, came out of a ski, shoulder dislocated, my shoulder's literally sat there, my nose was all bloody, tumbled down the mountain. And I think, it's okay, Spider-Man's here, it's going to be okay. And then suddenly he's like up in my face, like TMZ with the
How do you feel?
Recording it. I was like, what?
So cross him off the list.
He has some footage of me sort of getting put into a helicopter and getting flown off to a hospital in like Switzerland.
That's a rainy day. So no,
he's not getting a call. He's not getting a call.
No.
Eddie's pretty good.
Eddie seems like a responsible man.
Yeah. Eddie had a situation where someone had been scammed, and Eddie got scammed, and his email. We all got emails saying, "Look, guys, I'm up against it here. I need some cash."
No.
Yeah, and
did anybody respond? Did anybody?
Yeah, Warren Beatty was like, "What can I do?"
Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, Warren Beatty I think I'm okay to tell this.
So is this a group email?
Yeah, I sent to all of his contacts. I don't think we were all on there together.
I see.
I wasn't like, yeah, Warren, you go. You go first, I'll follow. No, but we all just got individual emails saying, guys, I need you to wire me some cash. And fair credit, Warren Beatty was like, whatever you need,
In a pinch, this is good to know.
I know, what a legend.
Amazing.
Anyway, just before he read out the wrong name at the Academy
It's all connected, probably.
Yeah. It all sort of makes sense. But yeah, so maybe Eddie's very Cillian's not a great phone guy. He probably wouldn't answer my call.
So